I am good to go when you are, man. As long as my camera's coming through, all right?
Yep, your camera is there. It is looking good. You're looking good.
As always.
A
No,
beautiful
thank you, man.
man.
It's lovely to see you.
Yeah.
It's going to be good. It's going to be
Yeah.
a good one.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Mondayish, actually being recorded not on a Monday this time.
Look, we finally got away from the thing that we would always said was never going to happen, which was actually recording on Monday. We finally did it.
Yep.
It's a Sunday.
That's
Hello.
it. But it's for a very important reason, because raid night for you on Monday night. Very important.
Absolutely, man. No, raid night takes precedence. You know, twice a week we get together with 20 other people. It's it takes a fair bit of coordination.
I was about to say, did you say 20
we organise
people?
all of this, and then
20
we do,
people?
Yeah, between 20 and 25 people.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of organisation for adults.
It's good fun. It is. We're very much a dad guild, which if you haven't heard the term, it's very much just because it's everyone with jobs and children and all that kind of thing. So it keeps us busy, but I'm excited. We're 2 bosses away from having done the first difficulty, all the bosses that came out last week. So we should knock that out and then head into the more difficult stuff straight after, which will be good. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. So as always, chat and people listening to this podcast, wherever it is, I am Straight Jacket Jim, and we have the lovely Desane, Dave, on the other side. That's the other dulcet tones that you're hearing there. And yeah, it's been a week, hasn't it, Dave?
Oh, mate, it has been a long week, man. And I know we talked about doing the Ask Me Anything this week, but I actually wanted to give everyone a bit more chance. We've already had some good questions come in, some people giving us some interesting ones, which I'm compiling. I'm working in the background to make sure I have those. But I wanted to talk about something that I saw on Twitter today. And I thought it was really interesting. And I think, it might be an interesting topic, because I was scrolling through, doom scrolling in bed, as always, just sort of like going, I should get up, but I'm not going to. And I saw an indie dev was posting about how their game had come out into early access. And basically, they'd had all of these wish lists, they'd all these Twitter followers, all these Blue Sky follows, all that kind of stuff. They went in going, cool, we're sorted. We're going to nail it. And basically, no one bought it. Like, no one bought the game. So they were having a bit of a crash out in the Twitter thread, which is why I'm not naming them, because I'm probably not going to be the most sensitive on the matter. But it's one of those things where they're sort of going, oh, it's a failure, all that kind of stuff. Like, the lesson they're taking away from it is that, wish lists don't mean anything, and this doesn't mean anything, and likes on Twitter don't mean anything. That one's true. Likes on Twitter mean nothing.
Yeah. Look,
just judge.
There has to be metrics, and that's the hard thing about things like streaming, things like game dev work, is that there has to be metrics that you can measure to determine your success, particularly with game devs. When there are people investing into what you're building, there has to be some metrics. And unfortunately, one of the easy metrics to get and measure is wish listing or followers on various social media platforms. So, but once again, it's like that old Facebook event invite that you're going, oh yeah, I'll go to that. And then the event rocks up and you've completely forgotten about it. So you don't go. So it's
100%.
Yeah.
And I mean, you say they need a metric. There is a very key metric to measure the success of a game. Sales. Like that's what it comes down to, unfortunately.
It is, but to attract those investors, you need those other metrics first. So if you can prove the popularity of your game before it comes out and before you've started sales, that's where the fun happens. But you're right, it's a lot of House of Cards sort of stuff, because people give out wish lists like candy. Like they just go, I like this game, I'll put it on a wish list. Cool.
But yeah, no, we've talked about it before. Wish lists do matter for discoverability and things like that. Like, wish listing a game, like an indie game that you've seen, does help. We know that. The problem is that it doesn't translate directly to sales. But it actually comes around to, they were taking it away as being like, oh, I misrepresented the numbers, I didn't understand this kind of thing. I actually took a different view from them, which is, again, why I'm not calling out what the game is or anything like that, because, well, first off, because they rejected me for a sponsored stream. So, already...
You don't want those sour grapes out there. Yeah.
No, yeah, that's it. They deserve everything. No, what I took away from it, and it is one that I wonder, I don't know if it's a hot take, because, we've had some not so hot takes recently
The
that I
lukewarm
thought were hot
takes.
takes,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
they released into early access, and I'm at the point where fuck early access, man.
Mm.
Like, I do not want an early access game at this point. There is too many games out. If I play your game in early access, I'm not playing it when you fully release it. So I'll just wait for the full release.
I think that there is some, once again, they're playing a bit of devil's advocate here, but there is something to be said for early access because, yes, gamers generally want a game that's built and ready to go. But like you say, these guys, sales is a very good indication of how your game's going. And if you've got the game into a workable state, but you still have a powerful need to eat that week, like early access is a good way to generate sales and also keep working on the game. But you need to have a solid roadmap of what you're doing with that, because so many devs release into early access and the game just stagnates and go, well, if this is all the game's going to be, you may as well have released a 1.0 version. Like, just
Yeah. Oh, look, I get that, but I will also say I can't think of many early access games that I've come back to after they come out. Like, I put in 15 hours, give or take, into Slime Rancher 2 when it was on early access in Xbox Game Pass, that kind of thing. Full YouTube playthrough, all that kind of stuff. Loved it. It came out full release. I didn't even think twice about going back. Like, there wasn't even a thought that I'd just go and I'd go check it out now. And it's like, I'm realizing I'm not getting the best version of a game because I'm playing early access and then I don't go back. And that might be a me problem. You haven't touched full release, but you've been thinking about it. I think you're in the same boat then, Solaris, because I'm pretty sure you were playing it at the same time I was playing it, which was that early release. It's like Hades 2. I feel like Hades 2 came out years ago. It didn't. It had early access, which was apparently pretty much full release anyway. But it's one of these things that just takes away my love of like release day. You know, this game came out today. Everyone checks it out, gets the same experience and that kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think that's people use early access wrong. Escape from Tarkov, I'm looking at you. Like you were how many seasons have you had in your game now and you're still early access? Like a game shouldn't spend years in early access. But getting back to that point about having played games in early access and if you come back into the release, I will say I don't get into too many early access games, but there's two that I remember a bit. One was a game called Festival Tycoon, which was a sim game where you built your own music festival. And I love that. I love the way they did things, like right down to minutiae of hiring cleaners and plumbers and maintenance people to make sure everything was working, you know, and then assigning. It was cool. So you had your build phase and then you had your festival phase where you had to monitor everything, and it was quite cool. I like that.
I'm fairly sure, Jim, that you and I actually streamed that game together at a convention once.
Yes,
that
yes,
I
we
jumped
did.
onto your stream for a little bit just to jump in and guest star.
We're not going to say which one because we found an unsecured network port that we probably weren't supposed to use, and just plugged the computer into it and went for it.
They locked us in a room. What do you expect's going to happen? It's
But like I love that, and I keep going back to it, like not just when it full release, but as different stages, because they had a good roadmap. They were constantly releasing new stuff into the game to keep your interest. You know, the second game I remember, Phantom Abyss. I don't know if you remember that, but it was like the Indiana Jones tomb running style game. So you had the whip with your main movement mechanic. And I played that when it first came out into early access, but I didn't touch it again until the full release. And I will say it was very interesting seeing the changes made from just the early access to full release, because they kind of had they added in a bit more of a story. They added in a hub world, which made it a little bit more fun because you had different whips that did different types of things and like reduced fall damage and things like that. So like it was a cool game, but once again, I didn't touch it until the full release came out.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say, though. That's almost my issue with it, is that if you had just played the early access, you didn't actually see half the game.
Yeah.
But, like, I really would love to see numbers from some developers of, like, how many people played the early access versus how many played the actual release. Because, that my games, and I play a lot of cozy games and farming games and all that, simulator games, things like that, they without fail release in early access. So I play them, I get through them. Then half the time, the worst ones are the ones that then delete your save
Oh yeah.
when they
Oh,
update. You know, they update and you go, so you're back to square one and that kind of thing, which is the absolute worst. But
yeah.
it's like, I was really excited. There was Star Sand Island was coming out. Star Sand Island, really cute looking farming game. Jep's been getting into it. She's really loved it. Like,
I was
it
about to
looks
say,
like a
was
game
that
I'd
one of the
really
games
enjoy.
that Jeppy put on her fantasy team?
It was.
Yeah.
Which she now can't get points for because it went from being a full release on this date to, oh yeah, no, we're in early access now. And my desire to play it was gone. Like, I'm just like, I'm just gonna wait for full release then. Will
Yeah.
I see that in a year? Will it be 2 years? Will it ever actually happen?
Mm.
You know, it's all those games that just sort of, I've been stung too many times by a game that comes out in early access and never actually gets finished.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think that's the thing, because early access isn't for players. Early access isn't there to give us a game to play, because like we say, if the game was ready to be played, it wouldn't go into early access. It would go into full blown release. The part of the thing, I think, and the aim of early access is to provide some funds into that developer to be able to get some money and continue working on the game, because it takes a lot of time. I was thinking of, there was
100%.
Miska Tiny Tail, I think it was, local WA game got made. They got like a $100,000 grant from, I can't remember if it was Screen West or Screen Australia, to make that game, which meant that the dev could take the year off and work on the game. But that's the kind of what early access is supposed to do, but it's not the be all and end all. And like you say, players are starting to realize that if you buy into an early access game, you might not end up ever getting a completed product.
Nah, and that's it. And, you know, some games might benefit from it. I feel like High Guard probably would have benefited from an early access period, just so that people come in and go, hey, this isn't what you want, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But no, I don't know. It's one that it's just annoying me more and more, because I love indie games and it feels like every indie game is coming out in early access now.
Yeah.
And they sort of, you know, you build up the hype, you get really excited, then they go, and we're out today in early access.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I go, cool, I'll wait for full release. Then I just never hear about the full release.
Yeah.
You know, they've used their full marketing spiel to wind up to the release of early access, which is yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know,
or you've also got that little bit where, because like from the dev's point of view here, like this is all the stuff that devs get told to do: build your social media following, get your wish list, because you can take that to investment companies and publishers and go, this is the interest we got in our game. Will you help us out? Yeah, and the publishers will chip in some money as well, and that you go from there. But it's not necessarily indicative of how many people are going to buy your game. And clicking on a screen is easy. You know, everybody can do that, and particularly at the moment where things are very much economically tough for a lot of people. There's so many things going up in price still, fuel being the main one at the moment, and people are being more protective of their dollars. So you need to have a product that that people want to buy, and that's hard. And even if you capture some lightning in a bottle, like I don't remember, I think it was 2 years ago now, there was a game, Primordial Hollows, I think it was. You might, if I say Combat Wombat, you might remember what it was. But basically it was a whole world that these devs have started building around animals and whatnot, and they realized it was too big, so they took a slice of it and took this wombat and just made that into a game. Well, we're making that into a game. And they had this big, huge social media explosion because they had this affectionately called Combat Wombat, you know? And, but even that, they went to Kickstarter and didn't make the money on Kickstarter to try and get it. But some of the vision that they'd gotten at the time meant that they would be able to get more interest from publishers and work on it. And I do remember, like, because I didn't go to PAX last year, but I went the 2 years previous to that. And the last time I was at PAX, they had made changes to how the Wombat controlled, and it was really good. But here we are, You know, we're 2.5 years after that initial explosion of interest in it, and the game's still not here.
And yeah, and that's exactly it. And like you're saying, Ren, you know, you check. Hello, by the way. You see for devlogs, you look for progress, all that kind of thing. The problem is that doesn't tell you that it's going to continue. You know, and that's what I think. I've been stung so many times now that I'm just like, you know what? I'll wait for full release. It's one of those ones. Hello, Toxie. It's one of those ones where, like, if a game comes out in early access and I check it out, I'm not getting the best experience. Like, you know, there's things missing. Could be that the story is not fully implemented, or, you know, we're trying to add this, or, you know, you're playing games like, you know, again, I go back to my farming games and things like that I really enjoy. They just go, oh yeah, we're gonna make them romanceable, but we didn't get around to it.
Yeah.
And I would say this is partly Stardew Valley's fault, which is a game I love. It's a game I love. But he just continually adds and adds and adds, and it feels like it just gave everyone license to go, we'll add that post-release.
Yeah, when you have a game that comes around and is that big, and like I don't remember much about Stardew Valley releasing because it's not my sort of game, but I'm imagining that they probably released into 1.0 and then go, yeah, cool, we're still working on stuff. We're going to add stuff in here and there. But now everybody kind of sees that, particularly for cozy games, as the standard. You need the relationship management, you need the farming stuff, you need the crafting stuff, and you need to add in more crafting stuff as the game goes on, you know? And there needs to be a hook for the game. But I think, and that's a trap some devs fall into, I think. They're trying to be the next Stardew. They're trying to be the next Hades. They're trying to be the next Fortnite. You know, well, not so much the smaller indie people, but definitely the larger studios are chasing that Fortnite money. And to me, that's the wrong thing. You need to find your own unique hook on a game. Like, to be successful, you want to try and be one of the first to that thing, the MacGuffin that you're chasing to make things good. And if you're keep on chasing current trends, that's not going to work for you. And that's why, like, if something goes into early access and it's super unique, then people are probably more likely going to buy it. But you're still right in that the early access version of a game is probably going to be completely different to the full release.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I mean, it's one of those things that, you know, we talk about being the first, but Stardew Valley wasn't the first. You know, Stardew Valley is a love letter to Harvest Moon and things like that. They basically went, the Harvest Moon games have changed to the point they're not what I like about them anymore, so I'm going to make my own version of it. Yeah. But that was a clear vision and a clear understanding. And, you know, Concerned Ape is actually just a very good developer. You know, it's not like he came out of nowhere. He did work in gaming and things like that. Like, he knew what he was doing. But yeah, as chat's sort of going here, you know, it's the exact reason I play early access games. You know, that's why I don't do a Kickstarter. It does make me feel better. Apparently, my hot take wasn't as hot as I thought.
Back to Dave's lukewarm takes. Yeah,
that's it. We're just Dave appealing to the masses.
Yeah.
You know. As Solara said up there, Silk Song shows how long a game can take to finish. I really wonder, and it probably would have been, but I really do wonder, would Silk Song have been as successful if it had gone into an early access? And I don't think it would have been.
No, I don't think
people
it
that love
would have
Hollow
either.
Knight would have gone straight into it, and it wouldn't have had this big mass hype of here is the actual release. You know, imagine if Pokemon Pocopia, because that's one of our other obsessions at the moment. If that came out in early access, you get like, you know, 20 to 30 Pokemon, and here's the first area, you can't go outside it, all that kind of stuff. It shows why, like, early access is not what I like. Like, I want a complete game that you go and it is like, this is what you get. And if there's DLC, that's a bonus. It's not which, you know, we can get into the whole conversation of companies pulling stuff out of games to put it as DLC. But, like, you know, it's one, if that had come out in early access, I probably never would have got to it because I would have just waited for full release.
I think there are definitely cases where early access can work well, though. So I think one of the best places that it can work is actually in cozy games. And it's not so much for for the story mode in it or the relationship part of it, because I feel like if you start playing a game and you start your relationships with this character and then all of a sudden this other character gets a relationship or is able to be romanced or whatever, then you're not going to start a new game and go, oh shit, now I want to romance this person. But I think where it does go well is the crafting side of things. It gives you more time to add stuff into crafting. And I'm talking about like decorations for things. So like Parley is probably another good example of this. So a big part of that is the making your own home and doing all those sorts of things. So I think that if the it like for Parley, because I'm pretty sure that opened into early access when it first came out, or at least a kind of beta-y type thing.
It was kind of an early access, yeah. And the problem was, and that's a great example because I streamed that. I streamed that multiple times, but I hit the wall of, okay, here's the wall of more stuff is coming in the future.
Yeah.
And I never went back. Like, that was years ago. I hit that wall of, cool, come back in 6 months and we're going to have a whole new continent.
Yeah.
Cool. It didn't hit the top of the list at that point. Like, it's just one of those, like, it didn't have enough to embed itself. It's the same as Infinity Nikki. Remember, that took over a lot of stuff for a long time. And again, that was not full release. There was still stuff to come. And people go, yeah, we want to make it's the double-edged sword, isn't it? It's if you release something and there's nothing more for a live service game, it's done.
Yeah.
But that's why I keep saying, stop making live service games. Make something that I will buy once. I'll pay a bit of money. I don't need it to be free so that I can buy it once and cool. That is the game.
I think Solaris has hit on something here too, because I'm not 100% what Crab Champions but I'm guessing it's kind of almost either roguelike or battle royale sort of a game. And that's where early access could help those games. So like, if you think about stuff like, roguelike. Okay. Yeah. So that's the sort of game where an early access could help, because you can introduce a new weapon and all of a sudden it changes how runs happen and you need to tweak stuff and you've all of a sudden got built-in play testers. Yeah. I think early access will suit certain types of games. There are definitely games that I think it won't suit. And I, done right, I think cozy games are one of them that it can work right with. But stuff like Silksong, because one of the things that people love about Silksong and Hollow Knight is the lore in it, like the hidden lore that is not necessarily spelled out for you. You have to go searching for it. And you couldn't release Silksong into an early access game without that, because people would go, well, there's no lore here, I'm not playing this.
And yeah, no, you touch on an interesting one, because it's I understand where you're coming from when you say like, oh, I think it works with cozy games. I think a big part of that is the fact that every independent developer thinks the easiest way to make a game that's like going to be successful is make it a cozy game.
Yeah.
Like I'm in the cozy game subreddits, cozy gamers subreddits, all that kind of thing, because it's what I play, it's what I stream, it's all that kind of stuff. They are, so many of them are just the most, I'm here to make money, I'm here to do this, so early access so I can start making money immediately, blah, 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 blah. Like, it's a good cozy game should be a closed envelope. It should be done. And yeah, you can add more and that kind of thing. But like, I don't sort of accept this thing of that. A lot of people go, oh, well, a cozy game doesn't need story and that, because like you make the story, it's like Minecraft, you build what you want and all that kind of thing. It's like, yeah, you can have one or two of those, but like a cozy game should still have story. It should have, and it's the one that comes up a lot in debates, is a cozy game should still have conflict.
Yes.
And that's not to say combat. A cozy game should have conflict. Any story, any narrative, anything like that. It's very rare to find a good story that doesn't have some sense of conflict. And usually you get sick of them pretty quickly. Think of a serial story or something that you've had where like there is no conflict. A slice of life anime where it's just in the school, but nothing really goes wrong.
Yeah, there's no drama. Yeah. But that's you're right. It does need, like, particularly if you're Solaris saying it doesn't need a story, but some form of progression. Yeah, but
Mm.
like I am still in the school of thought that a game needs a start and an end. There should be a definite
100%.
end for it. And if there's stuff that you can continue on with afterwards, like crafting and building and making your home nice and neat, then great. But there still should be a start and an end. And in the middle is what keeps people interested. And if you've just got everybody's living in harmony and it's really great, that doesn't work as a story. It's boring. Like you need something that's more interesting than that.
Yeah. It's why I struggle with Minecraft, even though that does have one. But it's the same as things like Factario. Factario doesn't have much of a story. It's got a little bit of one. But it goes, you're on this planet. Your goal is to build this rocket ship.
Mm.
That is going to take you 100 hours
Yeah.
in your first playthrough.
Yeah.
It is a nightmare. Spaghetti conveyor belts, all that kind of thing. The games I adore.
Yeah.
Like that kind of
But
thing.
it's got a goal.
But you're right. It
has
an endpoint. Launch the rocket.
Mm-hmm.
And then, launch the rocket faster. Launch 3 rockets at once. You can make your own things after, but it has an endpoint. It has something that you're working towards, which a lot of these cozy games, when they come out into early access, don't have that.
Yeah.
You just hit an endpoint, but it's not actually an endpoint. It's just like, we'll get to that in a bit. And I guarantee you, it's never the first. Content patch that comes in.
Yeah.
They sort of go, we'll figure out how to land this plane later.
Yeah.
The landing gear is still there somewhere.
But there has to be a point to it. Like it's even like I will complain about games like Fortnite and Call of Duty Warzone and all those with how the live service model and whatnot. But at their most basic point, they have a game and you start that game and you finish it. Like there's a winner at the end of it. There's the crown gets given, you get the chicken dinner and PUBG, that sort of thing. But there is a definite end to that game and you can stop there and be finished with the game or you can keep playing. A sandbox game has its goals, but even you watch a lot of the Minecraft streamers that do it. They don't just go in and build stuff a lot of the time. They get in and they have competitions with other people. They get they'll have a design contest that they're working at, so it has to have some sort of theme. So it's not so much the game having the end goal that you get to, it's the players self-imposing that on themselves so that it feels creative and it feels fun to them.
But yeah, I'm a bit skewed because I do randomizers. Randomizers are like the main way I play games. I come back and play games I've been playing for decades with a randomizer. I really feel like a lot of the time a game or like a thing should have a goal that can be set in one line. It doesn't have to explain exactly how to get there. Yep. But Ocarina of Time randomizer. What's the goal? Beat Ganon.
Yep.
That is the thing. That is your end point. A lot of the time, most games, that's when the credits roll. That is when your credits roll. Stardew Valley, finish the community center or finish the hidden bundle or whatever you want to call it. But it's finish the community center is the really common one. Link to the Past.
Beat Ganon again.
Pick
pretty much.
If it's Legend of Zelda, it's beat Ganon. Let's be honest.
Except for in like a handful of games where it's not. But
not many.
No,
it's really not.
No. Well, there's the Oracle games, and then there's Four Swords that have Vati. Minish Cap had Vati. I don't think there's any 3D Zeldas that don't have Ganon though.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
that might be the way.
There's a few 2D Zeldas. Yeah.
Your favorite game is Bratz on the PS2.
Fair.
But again, that probably has a goal. That probably has a goal, and that's what I'm saying, Jack. Like even with a game like Bratz, I'm sure it's going to be something like get the last outfit. Is where credits roll for a lot of those games and you need to get your contract. See, you can put in one line the aim of the game. That is what I'm sort of saying. Banjo-Kazooie beat Cortex. Not Banjo-Kazooie, that's Crash Bandicoot. Banjo-Kazooie beat Grunty. You know what I mean? Like all these games, I think at the most simple needs a goal. Minecraft, really, beat the Ender Dragon. That is and I know they add stuff after and all that kind of thing, but that is a solid goal.
Even like Ren mods can help with extending the life of a game, and modding tools are cool to include in a game for people to make their own fun. Like I remember playing the OG Battlefront games, Star Wars Battlefront games. And when the first one came out, people were crying out for a map editor. And like there was some jury rigged one that somebody came up with, but the second game came out and they released a map editor with it. And it was cool. Like it was really fun to mess about in those. So having those creative tools for people to play in is a good thing, but that shouldn't be the goal of the game to me. Like it definitely extends the life of the game.
It's an add-on.
Yeah, it's an add-on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's I think my problem with so many cozy games coming out in early access, even other games coming out in early access. You would in 6 months, a year, whenever it finally goes for release, they're going to be able to say in a sentence, your goal is to cure the plague. I'm just picking a random thing here.
I know we've already
when it comes out in early access, the plague doesn't exist, or the plague is like, oh no, they've got the plague. Black screen, no transition. It just goes, more updates coming in 6 months.
You want to talk about a game that does that really well, though. And we're going back to Zelda, but Breath of the Wild, because the first quest you get is defeat Ganon. And then the very last thing is this big white screen, and then check off defeat Ganon. Yeah.
Yeah. And do it for Dr. Cortex. Like, I don't know. It's one of those things where you can add editors, all that kind of thing. One of the most popular ones is, it's probably not anymore, but Halo Forge. But Halo had a story, had a constrained, this is what's meant to be done, I think. And maybe it's because I grew up playing with Lego and all that kind of thing, so I still love all those building your own challenges or things like that. But yeah, as Solara said, the plague is uncurable in early access. Or the worst game, like, it's affected because of the games I love. My favorite game is Kingdom Hearts 2. Kingdom Hearts 2 has a very solid finish point. One of my other favorite games, probably, it's a toss-up between the two. Persona 5. Again, really strong endpoint, but if that came out in early access, you're getting to the halfway point. You're not having any of the side activities. You're not having any of that, like, those kind of things, like, make so much of the game memorable. The bits that are not the main packet.
But see, I'm going to argue against that a little bit, because Persona 5 is one of the, I haven't played it, so I'd have to have a few questions here, but that has lots of different endings, doesn't it?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, then I take that back. I'll use Nier as an example.
Actually, no, I'll take that back. It's got 2.
Yeah. But like, I'll use Nier as an example.
If you go to Nier Automata,
have
you played Nier Automata?
I haven't, but I've heard there's like 100 different endings to all those games. So like,
there's one.
They
call them endings, but they're actually chapters.
Oh, okay.
So ending A is chapter 1, ending B is chapter 2, which is the first playthrough from another perspective. Then ending C is actually like the story ending. Then the other ones are like little cutscenes. So the other ones are like fake endings. So like, if you do this fishing side quest, which takes like 15 hours, it's really fun. I really like the fishing in Nier and all that kind of thing. Your character just goes, oh, you know what? I really enjoy fishing. And then it cuts to a black screen. It goes, 2B decided to retire from the army and just become a fisherman. The end boss was never beaten. And then plays the credits, but it plays it like sped up, so it just skips through them all. And goes, it's not actually an ending. Like,
but see, to me, this is like, not that Nier is the sort of game that would go into early access, but it's the type of game that could go into early access and just keep adding endings or and add chapters and stuff like that. Like, I'm not saying.
I don't know. I think with a reputation of having multiple endings, I can understand how you're getting to that. Nier is not that kind of game. Like Nier, as much as people complain about having multiple endings, it's not really multiple endings. But I get where you're coming from on it. You managed to pick out another game that I adore. That was the problem. Jep caught me playing Nier Automata for hundreds of hours to get all the endings and all the achievements and all that kind of stuff. But it's one of those that
was silly. It was silly. Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why I bothered.
Played,
that's right. Yeah. But speaking of endings, I think we've gotten to the end of this episode of Mondayish. It's been good. That was a good topic.
Smooth.
I know.
That was really smooth.
Mate, I'm pulling out the segues now.
Look, it's really impressive because I almost asked if we were going when you started the podcast. So you beat me by about 4 seconds. I was about to go, so are we starting now? And you went, hello, welcome to... And I was like, oh.
We're in. Done. Yeah.
But that was brilliant.
Yeah.
I know I've ruined it by by calling it out, but
Peeking behind the
was a smooth
curtains, people.
segue.
That's, yeah. But no, thank you all for watching. Thank you for being in chat. Don't forget, next week we're going to be doing our Ask Us Anything. So if you've got any questions, pop into our Twitch chats. I am Straight Jacket Jim, twitch.tv/straightjacketjim. And also for Desane, twitch.tv/Desane as well. Come in, have a chat, have a bit of a wander around, see what it's like here. I think I'm the one that's got the podcast. I've got my Mondayish podcast. I don't know about.
Yeah, that flicked up in my
Yeah,
channel.
there we go. Cool. But yes, we're just releasing the episodes on YouTube at the moment. But we're hoping to have a logo soon, which would be pretty cool.
Yeah, we're working on it. But no, guys, thank you so much for coming along. Do go follow the YouTube channel. It's the best way to watch it. As Jim said, I'm harassing him to get it onto other platforms, but I don't actually understand how any of it works. So I just sort of rock up and throw out lukewarm takes. If you're hanging out with us, go see Jim, all that kind of stuff. But Mondayish, thank you for hanging out. We'll see you soon.
See you guys.